Hello and welcome to another episode of Meet the Pros. I'm Reiss Hall, one of the senior portfolio managers at Hackstons, and today I'm on London's iconic Lime Street, just a stone's throw away from London Bridge in the heart of the financial district, to meet with the folks at the Bootlegger and see what they have on offer. Come with me. Ricardo, how are you, sir?
Very good yourself.
Nice to see you. So this is Ricardo, he's the bar manager here at the Bootlegger. Ricardo, could you just tell us a little bit more about how long you've been in the industry and what brought you to it?
Yeah, so sure. So I started in industry about 5 years ago. When I moved to London when I was 18, I came to study and to study international business at the University of Greenwich, and which I quitted after a while. After this, at the time I was having a part-time job in a pub in the O2 Arena in Greenwich, and I decided to then start studying and following more bartending. So I started having my job as a full-time, and after that I took a course in the UBS in Bermondsey, just very close to where we are at the moment. And so after a while I went for a Mexican restaurant, which I was sure that I didn't want to stay for a long time, because I wanted to move more into cocktail making and not into the Mexican market. So a lot of tequilas, mezcal, and all of the things. I've been staying in the Bootlegger now for the past 3 years and a half. So like I said, I was looking for these jobs around the area and all these type of bars I was interested in. The Bootlegger was the one that took me inside and let me do what I really like to do.
I was really hoping to get more of an insight into the growing whiskey market from your perspective, and also the perspective of the team here at Bootlegger. So if you don't mind, if we take a seat and ask a few questions. Ricardo, how many different whiskies do you carry here?
So we actually have different styles of whiskey in our bar. We have about 17 Scotch whiskies, 2 of them being blended, 15 of them being single malted. So that means on a single malt they use only same type of whiskey, same type of barrel. On blended they blend different whiskies to achieve what they search to achieve. 7 bourbon whiskies, which are the original whiskey used on old fashioned, which is the most the best sell drink in the world, best sell cocktail. 2 Reiss, which are American too, but use different type of ingredients to be made. 3 Japanese and 3 different Irish whiskeys too.
Nice. Okay, so could you just tell us a little bit more about your selection? You know, what's popular?
So let's start from the smaller ones. So we have Japanese and Irish. We have 3 of each. With the 3 of them, we try to look to have a product for every different type of crowd. So let's say in the Irish you have a single malt, you have Jameson, which is very popular, and Bushmills, which is in between in terms of qualities and price-wise too. Japanese is quite pricey, but even inside of this category we still find to have something very superior, something intermediate and a bit lower. Bourbon, we just try to have different range, try to have different styles of bourbon so we can make different styles of old-fashioned, and we can play a lot with it. Plus Jack Daniels, which is from Tennessee, so none of these categories takes the Jack Daniels. And then we have Scotch whiskey, which every one of them is very specific, and we believe it should be drink neat, or there's more ways to have it, but we believe that's how you should have it. So we have a couple of them, I would say a lot of them too, so we can give it to every single different person.
So just catering to as many different people as possible. Yeah, that makes sense. Nice. Okay. So tell us, we have to know, what is the most expensive whiskey you offer?
So most of this whiskey is Glenfiddich Grand Cru. It's a 23-year-old single malt whiskey. We actually just got it less than a couple of months, so just a month ago, and we actually sold half a bottle of it already.
Oh wow. Okay, so how much does a bottle like that sell for?
We do sell 30, so each single shot for £30 and a double shot for £50.
Wow. Okay, and how much would a whole bottle of that set you back?
It really depends if you're selling it per shot or per double, I would say. 30 would do 600, £750, I would say.
Nice.
Selling.
Fair play.
I mean, I've noticed you've taken a few whiskies out. Are they popular whiskies here, or?
So that's the most expensive one we do have. That's the Glenfiddich True, 22 years old, one we just spoke about. That's a very nice standard bourbon. I would say you have better ones, you have worse ones, but this one will never let you down. Especially when you're making an old-fashioned or any kind of stir drink. Irish single malt. It was actually the first single malt coming from Ireland that I've ever tried. So they also just use one type of whiskey, one type of barrel to just finish it out. And normally the most ones are Bushmills, Jameson, something that you would mix with ginger ale or use a mixture that you should drink with. And we have Japanese. They're never wrong with what they do. And
I really like that bottle. That's a client favorite. Whenever we have client meetings, they always, you know, if they see Beaky, they go for it. So, I mean, as someone who hasn't got, you know, the most expansive palate, I'd be really interested to see, you know, what you would do for someone that's new to this. I mean, what would you recommend as a Scotch-based drink to start with?
So we do have several different signatures, right? Our last option and what we're famous for is called Dealer's Choice, where we try to create something very personalized to every kind of customer, trying to bring you something new, something that you never tried, or maybe even show you something that you think you wouldn't like and you might like it.
Really? Well, I guess there's only one thing to do.
Let's try some. So let me introduce you to our Dealer's Choice, right? Like I told you in our menu, we have a couple of different signatures. They all go from £10 to 16, right? So we have a quite different variety and prices. And Dealer's Choice is just right in between. So for £12, I can use certain spirits, right? And I can create out of a classic, out of your mind or out of mine, some different cocktails. If you use, let's say, a premium selection, there would be 14, 16. We can play with that, but that's something always discussed and something that we always play along. So I'm gonna make a Sazerac.
Okay.
That's an old-fashioned style drink, so it is a mix of bitters, sugar, and booze. So how would you like your Sazerac? Would you like it on the bitter side, sweeter side, quite balanced?
Definitely sweet and strong.
Sweet and strong. So quite boozy and sweet, right? Let's go for it. So you get a mixing glass, right? Where you only mix alcohol and a couple of sugar sometimes. I'm gonna use a big and a small cube. I'm gonna use some bitters too, so a lot of bitters. Even if you like it sweet, I've used a lot of sugar, so I want to make sure I can dilute everything in there, right? I'm gonna leave the Scotch to the end, so it's a single malt, and I want you to feel, let's say, the smokiness. This is the one who's gonna bring the smokiness to the glass and everything else. So I'll start with bourbon, which is a Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. It's my favorite bourbon to use in the old fashions.
Go for the single.
A single. There's a little. It's normally half and half with rye whiskey and cognac. I like to use bourbon and cognac and more bourbon than cognac. Couple, so 20 mils of Courvoisier VSOP. Now we should make a nice mash and blend everything inside of our mixing glass. Because I like it sweet, I should make sure that it's actually really crushed, so it really burns on your drink after. And you'll have small little pieces. So, what's a Sazerac? A Sazerac is a drink that it's made in one way and it smells in another. So it's built in one glass and it's normally served on a rocks glass with no ice. And you chill the glasses before you use them, right? So if your drink has no ice, why shouldn't we chill your glass and use Nick and Nod instead of a rocks glass? Make it a bit different and more interesting too.
Ricardo knows his stuff, doesn't he?
So you do wash your glass with absinthe, so you reason it on absinthe. So it smells like an E-Star. It brings all this floral and spice up. And then you give a little nice lemon zest and you discard it. So you discard the absinthe and the lemon zest and you get all these smells around, which disappear out of your sight. What can you taste? You'll taste bourbon and cognac. I'll use a little bit more of bourbon. You said boozy.
Careful, it's only 12 o'clock.
So you basically mix it. You keep adding more ice It's all about not having dilution and just making it cold in the right temperature, right? So the more ice you have, the less the ice is gonna melt, less dilution you're gonna have. So now let's rinse our glass in absinthe, so you get all the anise-star flavor and smell on it. So you just wash it all over and throw it away.
I guess it's like learning an instrument. Once you learn it, you can make your own style.
Oh, say so. Press some lemon oils in it, make it zesty. And you normally throw it away, but I like to keep a nice lemon zest in there. That's a Sazerac. If you have noticed, I haven't used any scotch on it. I want you to try it, and then I want you to use a little scotch on top so you can see how what for me Scotch is all about. So Scotch is all about being unique, being aged, right? So by not stirring it and using it on top, I'm actually adding some character. Let's have a sip.
Let's try it.
Let me know what do you think, please.
That's really smooth. It's not really overbearing. You can taste it's still quite sweet.
So I would say using nice spirits, so the result would always come quite nice in the end, but then the right dilution, the right temperature, amount of bitters, the sugar that was using there, since you wanted something boozy and sugary. It is nice that you can still say it's quite balanced and it's still quite smooth because it's quite boozy too.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's what's impressive about it is it's like not overbearing in any way. Usually, you know, with cocktails like this that are very heavily alcohol based, I find that yeah, sometimes the alcohol can be extremely powerful, but here you can really taste the fruits. You can really, you know, it's very sweet, but more importantly, it's very smooth. You don't get the, you know, sometimes when you have a really strong drink, you get a little shudder. You know,
yeah.
This doesn't. It's just completely smooth.
It was also quite the choices. So nothing too harsh on your throat. There's no rye, so rye would be a bit more harsher.
Is that what it is?
It would scratch you a bit more. So using a Sazerac where the rye would be the original whiskey being used in there. So Sazerac, since you like it, I would say, would you like to have a sip of it too before you just add our scotch?
I want to drop it, why not?
Make it a bit smoky.
Do you see what I mean?
It is smooth, but it's got a kick.
They can't see your face, but if they could, I hope they would see how much you love it.
Yeah.
No, I actually really like that.
Do you see what I mean? It's not. It's as much as the alcohol is strong. It's not overbearing.
Yeah, it's like your initial taste makes you feel as if you, like you said, are gonna shudder, but it's surprisingly really smooth.
Yeah, for sure.
So now with a little bit of scotch on top, it's actually gonna not be as smooth. It's gonna become a bit more smokier, more harsh, because it's not diluted. It's actually just coming from scratch, right? So let me just give a little bit to you, and let me make it a bit smokier in a different way too. If you order a smoky old fashioned, I'll make just a bourbon old fashioned with some scotch on top. So I would float some scotch like I just did, and I would make it a bit smoky over here. I'll discard it so you won't see it.
Now you're just showing off.
It is a stage in the end of the day, isn't it?
Nice.
So,
okay.
please let me know how different can you feel it now?
So now we've added.
Can you actually feel the smokiness? The orange zest, you should be able to taste it, to feel out now some orange, some citrus.
I definitely smell it already. Let's see what it tastes like.
A little bigger kick.
Oh wow!
Huh?
Straight away, yes, absolutely.
So there's so much character.
You can taste the smokiness.
Being
of
10
the
years
character.
on a barrel, that you can recognize it straight away.
I think, like I say, for such a heavily alcohol-based cocktail where you've not put in any kind of like a mixer of any kind, there's no lemonade or any Coke or anything like that, it is one of the smoothest drinks I've ever tasted. But certainly adding the Talisker in the end really brings through a more smoky flavor, but also you can really start to taste that orange zest that you added as well. So I think, I think it was a good idea to try them separately, because there's definitely a clear
so
difference.
it is a way to show you two different ways of having a balanced drink, be interactive and making your dealer's choice different from everybody else, I would say.
For sure.
So thank you.
Sure. You have to try this. You have to try this. You'll definitely notice the difference.
Wow.
You see it
You
straight
know
away.
what? As I brought the drink to my face, you kind of get hit with the aroma immediately,
Exactly.
but it's still quite smooth. I think.
How do you think that comes about? Is that more the selection of alcohol that you've chosen for the cocktail, or is it the process that makes it so smooth?
I would say it would be both. So I would say your skills and your selection would bring you to your final product, right? So the way you treat it, so the quality of your ice, the quality of your products, the quality of your oranges, the quality of your bottles, and then how you play behind. How much experience do you have on making sure that the drink has the right taste and the dilution is on the rightest point, and that you can make it balanced, so nothing is overpowering anything. So I would say a perfect cocktail is the most balanced cocktail, the one that you can feel a little bit of the whiskey, or also of the bourbon, the cognac, the scotch at the very end, sweetness, and the bitterness. So a perfect cocktail will be perfectly balanced, and you can show all the aspects from it.
Well, that's a job well done, I have to say. I'm gonna have another
Thank you
go.
so much.
This is
Please do.
lovely. So Ricardo, it's been a pleasure. This drink has been fantastic, and the Bootlegger, what a venue. But I've got to say, I've got to get back to work, so I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. But I will be taking my Sazerac with me.
As long as you finish it before you leave,
I
and you leave
certainly
the glass
will.
inside.
I certainly will. Thank
I'm
you
okay
very
with that,
much.
no worries.